Racing was at Eagle Farm on Saturday. The track played as expected. They're getting away from the fence. If we had a bit of rain, you'd say the track played very good. But there was no rain, and every jockey didn't want to go near that inside pad. Now, they had rolled it, so you'd think that the inside would be okay, and it wasn't. So that's the big problem with Eagle Farm. We've had no rain, and they're not going anywhere near that fence. Because the jockeys stayed away from the fence, it was pretty fair racing though. They realised it was no good, and so all in all, the day played quite well. In this first race, the sectionals were okay. Misery did a good job. It was well ridden. He stayed away from the fence, or she did. She stayed away from the fence, and she took good improvement off that first up run. So it's going quite well, this horse. From the stable, he's had a lot of problems with, I think it was strangles that it had. So the horse he's done a really good job with this horse. Tail event, it was slow out, got back in the field, had no hope after it was slow. It'll return, it'll go okay here next time. Stellar Ombre was slow out and was in the worst part of the track, did a good job. Clark just stayed on that inside part, which was the problem. Colonel did the same thing. He got up on the inside. He was about 3 off the fence though. He was going to go to him and just was in the inferior part. Did an okay job though. That's about all out of that race. Race 2, Punta again was 3 to 4 off that fence. It was a solid win. Did a good job. Desert General, I thought Lloyd rode this not like he does usually. He could have sat on the outside of the leader and dictated. There was no speed in the race, and for some unknown reason, from about the 800 or 900, he wanted to push the button and get across. I think it was Slidini. So there was no need to do it because he wanted to stay away from the fence. So why cross over to the fence? So he just went a bit too hard, and he was struggling the last little bit. He's one of those horses that wants to dog it and throw the towel if he doesn't have the right run. Slidini did the normal thing, just plugs away on the wet track. Shivadali and Moon and the Stars ran down on the best part of the track, so they did what they can go. Jim and Andy had the bar plates on. I don't know why it was in the market with them on. It was disappointing. Scrabble got up on the inside and was disappointing as well, even though it was in the worst part of the track. Go over to race 3. Merendi, just a machine, this horse. Looks well in the yard and has been going well. Had a bit of time off, was gone around about the 600 metre mark or the 700 metre mark, was under the whip, but they were going quick, so that helped it. But it did run on like it normally does and did a good job. My Diamantine had every possible. Dance of Heroes, it's a cat, just loomed up, perfect ride, and just dogged it, didn't want to go on with it. Ruling Force didn't handle that type of track. We were suggesting that in the morning, that it was possible that could be a problem. Over to race 4, we had a big result going here with Capital Gain. We thought the fence was no good. It was going to come down the outside. The pace shape of the race suited it. He was going to. I thought it was going to win for sure when I thought it had Schnitzkraft's measure. I could see Schnitzkraft's fitness just starting to peak at around the 250, 300, 200 metre mark. So I thought it had him, but the horse from the Munstable, St Patrick's Day, just come through the middle there and was quite an okay win, but everything fell in. His win at Caloundra was quite good for a maiden, but it was just a bit of a step up, but it went through it and got it. Schnitzkraft, again, this type of track, fitness, first up horses, just a little bit of a problem for it. It'll improve because they went along quite quickly, and now it's to keep a race like a trial. It trialled no good or just trial flat, and it raced flat. Race 5 was won by Oink. We were against this horse. The sectionals on one day that we followed, I think, were wrong, and so we were wrong. Billy the Kid just did what you expected. He was always going to be in the race. It was his fitness over the 1300 was questionable. He did fight to the line. He had those glue-on shoes, which was a little bit of a problem. There was a few little negatives, but he was the right horse for the right position, and he nearly got away with it. It was just Oink was just too strong. Lipstick Lover loomed at one stage. It just didn't finish off. I don't know why Desert Cowboy was in the market. It was around the $8 or $9 mark. Got out a little bit, but it was never going to be able to race those other horses. Zemex gave too big a start, like we were suggesting. I thought it was going to get back too far. I thought it had a chance, but just had to give away too much. Race 6. This is not a race to follow any form out of. I think the sectionals prove that. Music Magnate and Takedown are probably going to improve onto a drier track. That's the only thing with them. But if they stay on these dead to slow tracks, I'm happy to take a stand against them next time. Hofgarten ran on, probably had its chance. They didn't go fast, but the last sectional wasn't anything out of the box either. So I thought it had its chance. Miss Cover Girl ran on like we thought it would. It trialled okay. Tumbler started $5-6. We had it nowhere near that. It was just too big a step up from grade for it. Race 7, Dreams of Plenty, just bulldog effort to violate or keep it at bay the last little bit. Cassidy did a good job here because he had the bad gate and he decided to go forward, and then he realised Dreams of Plenty is going to keep kicking, so he had to put a bit of pressure on it because he's a horse that's very fit. Violate, so he just kept on pressuring the leader. As far as the whip goes, I just don't believe in that whip rule. They've caved into the animal rights people, and they should never have done it. You either have a whip or you don't have a whip. That's the whole thing. I think Dreams of Plenty, if it didn't have the whip, it may have sort of given in. But it's just a bulldog. She just kept on suling it and kept on kicking. Kubis just doesn't handle that type of track. There was plenty of money for it. That track it doesn't suit it, like we suggested. Spring Tycoon was very disappointing. Reeling second up, just needed the run. Race 8, the last race, just a terrible ride by Damien Brown, but typical what we expected. Around about the 600 metre mark, he had every opportunity to come off fourth too wide and push Sharp Hustler out of the way. They were going slow, and I don't care if it was Eagle Farm or Doom, and he would have done the same thing. And when they're slowly run, you can't be just sitting in there and wait. You've got to go at some stage, and if it's Eagle Farm, especially with the momentum, you just had to go, and he didn't. I don't think the horse went as good as I expected it, though. It did make ground the last 100, but right on the line, he had peaked. He had peaked on his run. So I thought he was disappointing, but he should have won. Mystic Opal, just a good horse. Before he spelled, he came out and he ran great sectionals to run second one day, and I just didn't know whether he'd hold it. But those horses going out on a high come back on a high. No, they're just you just want to be on them. And Mystic Opal was a good winner against the sectionals, and it's going to just keep on improving. The same with the other horse that made ground out wide and Time to Talk. I know these two horses came in the right part of the track, but there was a few others around about there, and they left them standing. So both went good. Time to Talk and Mystic Opal. As we suggested, in his stride probably needs a spell. It got up on the inside part of the track, but it was 4 or 5 away, and I think the old in his stride would have won that race, so I think he needs a spell. All in all, we were very disappointed in the day. We backed a couple of seconds that just put a hole in our kick. So maybe next week. Cheers.